Greetings and salutations, sci-fi enthusiasts and casual fans. This is Silent J from Surf Tectonics. In this video expedition, we will explore how the Star Trek Discovery Enterprise fits into the timeline. And believe it or not, my hypothesis that the Disco Prize is a Dreadnought purpose-built warship variant is what we will explore. And in addition, I apologize for my congestion because my cat, Izzy E, is giving me the sniffles. First, let's rehash where the Discoveryverse originated from, which you can get an in-depth explanation from my video Star Trek Discovery Alt Timelines Explained. The origin of the Discoverse parallel timeline split from the Prime Trek timeline at the end of Enterprise Season 2 Staryear of 2252. Two temporal time disruptions combined to cause this divergent point to happen. Enterprise Season 2 Episode 23, titled Regeneration, when Starfleet discovered the Borg Spear wreckage destroyed by the Enterprise E in 2373. From the time incursion events during First Contact. Also, with the Xindi incident, Enterprise Season 2 Episode 26, where Starfleet recovers the temporal probe wreckage that the attack on Earth in 2252. Together, the impact of these temporal incursions caused the timeline to split. And voila, the Discoverse was born. Think of it more like an opposite version of the Mirrorverse, a parallel universe where circumstances change, but because it is a copy of the Prime timeline, all the characters exist in both universes. Okay, with that out of the way, again, let's trace the origin of the Disco Prize and the reason for such a drastically different look and design aesthetic. The Star Trek Discovery Constitution Class Heavy Exploration Cruiser development and production started in the 2230s STD timeline, using engineered future temporal technology recovered from the Borg Spear and Xindi probe wreckage. Starfleet scientists incorporated nearly 100 years of reversed engineered technologies and development into the most advanced Starfleet ship ever constructed. The first Constitution Class Mark I was launched in the STD timeline year of 2243 for a 5-year mission under the command of Captain Robert April. Because this timeline advanced 20 to 30 years ahead of the Prime timeline, the TOS Constitution Class had a drastically different look, as the temporal incursions did not exist in the original series era timeline. The Discovery CONNY was 385 meters in length, nearly 25% larger, with more advanced systems throughout the entire ship: warp drive, shields, defensive systems, sensors, etc., etc. By the STD timeline year of 2245, 15 Mark I Constitution Class starships were in service, and by 2255, 10 more Type II designs were commissioned out of the dry docks. A similar number produced of that in the Prime timeline. Side note, in the original series, Captain Kirk's Enterprise, it was stated 12 of the Constitution Class fleet starships were in service, but those were the Type 2 flagships of the 2260s. The 15 or so Cage-era Connies built in the 2240s were still in service, performing support duties for the flagships. So not to get our wires crossed, let's jump back to the STD parallel universe. By 2255, 15 Mark 1s were in service along with 12 Type 2 Constitution Class starships, with a newer design exhibiting the swept-back warp nacelle pylons.
But Silent J, you said the Disco Prize was a warship. How are you gonna prove that, you stupid slacker?
Oh, aggro nerd. Where did you come from? Funny you should ask. That is my next segue.
Well, you're still a big fat loser with a stupid YouTube channel nobody cares about.
Well, thank you, aggro nerd. I really appreciate that. Now I'm going to hit mute. So have a great day, Mr. Aggro.
Yeah, wait a second. You can't be.
So pardon that interruption, ladies and gentlemen. So at the start of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Captain Pike asked the mission admiral why the Enterprise was sidelined during the Klingon War.
I'm curious. Do you sideline the Enterprise?
You sat out the war. Because if we'd lost to the Klingons, we wanted the best of Starfleet to survive.
Later in Season 2, we learned the Enterprise was in dry dock receiving extensive system upgrades, making her the most powerful ship in Starfleet. Adding to the captain's frustration, commanding a refitted starship designed for combat and not being able to engage the enemy. So my next example. In the Season 2 finale, the USS Enterprise and USS Discovery take on a fleet of Section 31 warships that, by the way, also had similar enhancements. The Intel Science Destroyer had a version of some type of visibility screen or optical camouflage. Although these ships appeared to be somewhat older designs similar to the Shinzo, they still were formidable adversaries with extreme combat upgrades. Yet the X factor is they outnumbered the Starfleet ships 18-2. That is 6-1 advantage in firepower. And the Enterprise and Discovery were able to hold off the Section 31 combat fleet for over half of the battle, while the capital ships slugged it out toe-to-toe in an all-out display of phasers and torpedo volleys. Obviously, the two Starfleet ships would have been destroyed if it not for the timely arrival of the Klingon and Kelpian reinforcements. But to fight as hard as they did for that long is the reason why I say the STD Enterprise was a refit Dreadnought Battle Cruiser. In addition, Pike XO mentions numerous times about the advanced defensive systems they received during the upgrades. Next reason. The Disco Enterprise only had a crew complement of 200, when normally a Constitution class would have around 430. So this number of a less crew in the ship is typical for Federation combat vessels, especially in the alternate timelines. As we can recall, the Vengeance could be operated in the Kelvin timeline with a crew of 20 or less. And the reason is these ships' only purpose was combat, so that reduces the need for non-essential ship sections. Instead, these sections could be utilized to carry 300 Federation drop troops with landing craft, or you could pack the secondary hull with 200 or more auxiliary fighters. So there you have it, space fans. I hope you enjoyed my episode about the Star Trek Discovery Enterprise Constitution Class War variant. So have a great day, Star fans, from whatever corner, dimension, galaxy, day, night, or evening, breakfast, brunch, dinner, part of the corner of the globe you live on. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.